Hello to everybody who managed to win the lottery twice. It's Beautiful Anonymous. 1 hour, one phone call, no names, no holds barred.
I'd rather go one-on-one. I think it'll be more fun, and I'll get to know you, and you'll get to know me.
Hi, everybody. Chris Gethard here. And if you're not a fan of the intros, I get it. I will ask you, think about signing up at beautifulanonymous.com. Think about checking out my road dates at punchup.live/Chris Gethard. But in the meantime, if you just want to skip all of that and go to the phone call, you're going to want to skip about 12 minutes. I think it's just about 12 minutes. We'll put you right towards the beginning of the phone call, and I sincerely hope you enjoy it. Hi, everybody. It's Chris Gethard, and thank you for listening to Beautiful Anonymous so sincerely. And I'm going to be a little vulnerable in a second as part of this intro. I'm going to be both vague and vulnerable at the same time. Before I do that, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been signing up. We announced last week that beautifulanonymous.com now has the extra added bonus of being ad-free. So that is a boutique service. If you go to beautifulanonymous.com, you can sign up for Beautiful Anonymous Plus. You get extra content at the end of each episode. If you're at the upper tier, you also get a secret phone number once a month to lessen the amount of people you're competing with to be on the show. You get follow-up calls with past callers. And on top of it, now it's all ad-free. And we are at just under 800 signups, which is adorably a middle ground number where it's not blowing up. This is not T-Swift, but this is a small, intimate venue where you get to make eye contact with the artist, and that's respectable. That's respectable. Also want to tell everybody, if you want to get out there and go to punchup.live/Chris Gethard, I'm getting out there on the road, and I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited about it. Brooklyn, New York, on June 13th, I'm doing a show at Littlefield. It's a benefit for Laughing Together. Laughing Together is the mental health nonprofit that I've been spearheading, using the arts to get into schools and help kids. And I can't tell you, man, we taught our first workshop in November with Laughing Together. We've already taught over 1,000 people. I've had some mind-blowing experiences. I've gone into schools where there's zero arts. There's not any budget for the arts. So we go in and we're doing arts-focused stuff that has a mental health benefits, but that also on top of it brings the arts back into high schools that have no money for any arts presence. Literally zero arts programming in a high school that I taught at. It was wild. I recently did one out in Northern California, rather, where I was so blown away by this mix of students, teachers, mental health professionals from a school district, and a lot of representatives from local indigenous communities. It was this beautiful event where I got to see a non-binary student do an improv scene where they were expressing themselves in a way where I sat back and looked around this room of people where I went, oh, this young person is expressing themselves in the context of playing this character, but they are speaking to who they are and where they're at in life, and everyone else in the room is hanging on every word because it's so honest and simple and raw and real. And this kid is taking a chance and using comedy to explain their perspective on who they are and what their life experience is like in a way that's making everyone in this room understand them more, and their jaws are dropping. And Laughing Together has been an indescribably positive experience in my life, and I have a feeling we're going to get it even bigger. And you can go to laughingtogether.org for info. And Brooklyn, if you're out there and you're listening in Brooklyn, please go buy a ticket. punchup.live/Chris Gethard. No tickets are selling to this show, and this is fundraising for one of the coolest things in my life. So I'm begging you, come out in Brooklyn on June 13th. Michael Kayne, who just did a show that was nominated for a Lortel Award and a Drama Desk Award, Gianmarco Soresi, Millie Tamarez. These are some of the funniest people in New York. Myself and Christi Somers co-hosting. Just a badass lineup, and I can't get the tickets moving. Come on out, support a great cause, enjoy a good show. I'll also be in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Woodstock, New York, Kansas City, Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri, Cudahy, Wisconsin, right outside of Milwaukee at X-Ray Arcade, one of my all-time favorite venues, Ferndale, Michigan, Somerville, Massachusetts, Garwood, New Jersey. Those tickets are selling out, my hometown show. Baltimore, Maryland, Otto Bar, my favorite venue anywhere. Hamden, Connecticut, Space Ballroom. And I've got another tour that I'll be announcing for the summer as well soon. But punchup.live/Chris Gethard. Go get tickets. Come on out. Support your guy. And a lot of those dates, I'll be out with Eddie Pepitone, who's an absolute living legend I've always admired. And we're bringing Keegan Tyndall, who's a young comic who I think he's going to blow up in the next couple of years, and you're going to be able to say that you saw a really badass bill of many different generations of sort of more fringe experimental comedy all in one place at one time. So come on out to any of those dates, and especially if you're in New York, New Jersey, I am begging you. June 13th, buy a ticket. I'll be at Littlefield, Laughing Together benefit. Tickets for all those shows are at punchup.live/Chris Gethard. Thank you guys so much. As I mentioned, I'm going to be a little vulnerable while also being treacherously vague. And I will just say that I have had a hell of a week. And you've heard my intros. I don't say these things to be hyperbolic or histrionic or try to foster sympathy. These intros for me, for Beautiful Anonymous, have almost weirdly, they are for me almost like what I think a diary has been for a lot of people. Like, this has become not just the intro to Beautiful Anonymous, but when I use these intros to try to connect with the community to this show, in a lot of ways, I have realized that this is my chance to almost air out not just where the show is at, but where I'm at. And people have been so receptive to that, especially since we went independent. And I just want to say it's been a hard week. And I think you can hear it in my voice. And I'm not looking for sympathy. I don't need anybody on the internet telling me, hey, keep your chin up. Like, I'm keeping my chin up. But I do just want to encourage you all out there to take care of the people you love. Check in with them. It's Mental Health Awareness Month. Reach out. Reach out to the people you love. Take care of each other. I'm good personally, but I'm just telling you. I know I'm being vague. I know I'm being vague. I'm just saying there's always time in the day to touch base with the people you love and see how you're doing and see if you have a chance to step up and be somebody who might help somebody else. And why am I rambling about this in the intro to the show when I'm not even being specific? I guess it's just because I think you can hear in my voice. I think a lot of the people who listen to this show are pretty in tune with my voice. And I'd be a liar if I pretended that I totally had my head on straight for this. So I'd rather just own up to it and say, if you're sensing that I'm a little scattered right now, yeah, you're not wrong. I've also been going through some real life stuff and taking care of people who I love immensely. Weird. This one got weird. Anyway, let's just get into it. This call. Oh, it's so fun to be able to talk about this call after that weird, rambly, clearly Chris is a little stressed and tired and sad intro. Something just happened that has never happened in the history of this show because, you know, we've done follow-up calls with people. We've even had a couple callers who have managed to get in on twice randomly on the phone lines. And it's always been spread out by many months, even years in the handful of times that's happened. What we've never had is a caller get back through on the phone line almost immediately. And I was so glad it happened because it's a really interesting one. The caller from 2 weeks ago, I believe it was just 2 weeks ago, was one of the only callers in the history of our show that got off the line abruptly. And I expressed that I felt like maybe I had turned them off or gotten aggressive in some ways. And the feedback on the episode was this really beautiful coming together of the community where a lot of people were going, you know, people debating, maybe you were going a little hard. Maybe you were being more judgmental than usual. Maybe she got in her head. Maybe you were in the middle of something where you usually find ways to diffuse the tension, but before the tension could be diffused, the caller felt put upon, and you got to be responsible as a host. And I really, truly appreciated it. I felt like, man, what an amazing community that I can go, I'm not sure if I messed this up. The caller kind of said that they have to go, but I'm sensing that maybe I caused some nerves, and some listeners going, no, I sounded like she just needed to go. You guys were laughing. Other people going, no, I think she maybe felt judged. And I went, what a cool thing that we can all come together and people can go, Chris, here's the guidance I would give you as a listener on how you need to kind of almost be the steward of these calls in this community. The caller got back through. The caller tried again. Andrea went, wait, I think that's the caller from a couple weeks ago. Didn't even really tell me. Just went, there's something really interesting that just happened. I'm going to patch it through. I said, great. And then really quickly I went, hold on, I know you. And here's what's really fascinating about it is we talked about the hang up. We got the honest answer. It was honest. It had more layers to it. It was both more simple and more layered at the same time. And then we got going with this call. And we talked about some of the stuff from the prior call, but we also had a totally different vibe. And there was stuff that was a little more laid back and chit-chatty. Why? Because it's a different day. And that's one thing that this really showed me, is that this show in a lot of ways is a chemistry experiment. Every phone call we've ever done is a chemistry experiment. And I don't know if I've ever realized that until right now. Because I think you could say that the way Beautiful Anonymous works is basically you got the host. He's the control mechanism. He's there. He's the same guy every week. And you get him and wherever his head is at. And then you get this unknown quantity. And you mix them together. And that, whatever that resulting thing is, that's the hour, that's the phone call. And this was the first time where everyone went, oh, I'm in a slightly different headspace and the caller's in a different headspace. And it's only a couple weeks later, but the vibe is completely different. And I was left wondering, wow, every caller we've ever had, if I talked to them on a different day where I was in a different mood or they were in a different mood or they were in a different location or I had 20 minutes more or less sleep or whatever, it could have been a totally different call because it's real life. As I always say with this show, it's real life. And that's the difference between us and some of the people out there who have done similar things, or dare I say some imitators, is that I think, is Beautiful Anonymous a perfect show? No, I'll never claim it's a perfect show, but I'm not aiming for perfect. Perfect is not something that I've ever strived for in any project I've ever done. But what I do aim for is real. And this show's real life, man. And that's what the imitators have never figured out, is that they don't stick their necks out like I do and the callers do. And that's why I think this thing is still so fascinating to me and to so many of you, because we all are still kind of collectively saying, let's be very real and honest and get stuff on record and stick our necks out. And last time this caller talked a lot about family and going off the grid and not trusting the systems in place. And this call's just different. Same person, same host, different day, different call. It was a cool experiment. I'm glad we did it. Enjoy it, everybody.
Thank you for calling Beautiful Anonymous. A beeping noise will indicate when you are on the show with the host.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. How are you really?
We can't even get into that today. I'm so sorry to tell you. Whatever you're sensing, just know that you nailed it. But how am I really doing today? We're not even getting into that. That's where it's at. And as you guys know, I have no problems oversharing. So that tells you a lot. How are you really doing?
Okay. Well, I'm good. I'm all right. I just got back from a work trip, and so just unpacking kind of all of that and those little nuggets of gold that you obtain on, these professional development trips.
What business are you in?
I think of the best way to explain it. It is a very niche group that I work with, but essentially I am a front office coach. I coach receptionists, although I hate that word, but I coach front office teams within the healthcare sphere to provide the very best patient experience.
That's cool. That's a cool and very succinct summation of what you do.
I have had a bit of practice on my elevator pitch. So
I bet.
I'm not really someone that used to love talking on the phone, but now that I coach other people to talk on the phone, I'm kind of gotten over my phone anxiety.
Now I've heard that, and this is not to criticize young people in any way. I'm really against the idea of just grumbling about young people. So I want to be clear, I'm not trying to do that. But I've heard that there's a bit of a phenomenon right now where a lot of people who didn't grow up with phones, people who grew up with texting, with email, that they're getting to the workplace and having actual phone conversations is an uphill climb and a struggle. And it's becoming a bit of an issue in the American workforce of like, people can't just pick up the phone and call each other and solve a problem or make a decision. Is this the type of thing you help with?
Yeah, that, and specifically we work with like a patient population that's generally elderly or a little bit older, and not I always say in the field that I work in, we sell something that no one wants, that's more expensive than they think it should be and never works the way they want it to. So I'm equipping the front office with, the right things to say, the right questions to ask, and just kind of how to have these conversations empathetically and curiously, so that they're putting the patient's mind at ease. But yeah, I definitely think I have quite a few teenage cousins, and I definitely feel like phone conversations are not their strong suit. But yeah, I was the kind of kid that when I would have to make a phone call, like if I wanted pizza and my mom was like, cool, order pizza, I would have to like write down on a notepad what I was going to say to the pizza parlor so that I could order pizza without anxiety.
So you had severe phone anxiety, and now you teach people the art of phone calls and are on a podcast about phone calls.
Yeah, I know. Look at me now.
Now
I could tell younger me. It's better.
I feel nuts saying this. Tell me if I'm wrong. This is your second time on the phone call podcast, is it not?
How did you know?
Well, it's because of that nervous laugh. But it's wild because it's hard to get through the show. You're the person who had to go, and I was not sure the reason for it. You're the school bus person.
I am. And what's so wild is that I've been listening from the beginning, and I've tried to call in so many times. And now look, twice in 1 month.
Yeah, like a couple weeks.
Because talk to me.
I want to be clear to anybody listening. We did not call you back. We did not arrange this. You've gotten through now pretty much back to back. Like that was 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was. It was right before I left for my work trip. And now I'm back from my work trip.
That's wild. Because it's not easy to get through on this show.
I think so, too.
Now, I've been sitting here, and did you look at the feedback for your last episode? There was a lot of debate over if you hung up because things got a little too tense or if it was really a scheduling issue.
You know, I did look at the feedback, and part of me was, I have a lot of flexibility in my job, and especially right now, this is one of the days that I have a nanny. And so I saw the post come through on, I get like the notifications for Twitter. I don't use Twitter for X. I don't use X for anything, but I have the notifications for Beautiful Anonymous, and I have since forever. And I was like, I feel like I should put everyone's mind at ease that while I did think that maybe imitating my nervous laugh was a little far, I did have to go. I did have a doctor's appointment, and everything's fine.
So you did. It was time management issues, but I also was being
It was time management issues on my.
Coincidentally, I was being a little bit of a dick, which is not my intent, but it turns out I was. And those two things, while you did not leave because I was being a bit of a dick, coincidentally to me messing around about your laugh in a way that was coming off more dickish than intended, you did also have a doctor's appointment.
I did also have a doctor's appointment, but I think that and I didn't listen back to my call. I do not like my voice recorded or over the phone, and I have to hear enough of it in my line of work. So I didn't listen back, so I didn't notice the tonal shift that maybe some of the other listeners did. But I think if there was any tonal shift, it was me being aware of my laugh and trying to minimize it. But also, yes, very poor time management. I did have a doctor's appointment, and and everything's fine. My estranged father's mother died recently of cancer, and then my maternal grandmother was diagnosed with breast cancer. She is fully cancer-free now, and we're all super stoked on that, obviously. But due to both of those things happening very close together, I just needed to kind of check things out for myself.
And everything's doing okay?
Everything's good. Yeah.
Good. Because if you have it, and if both grandmothers have dealt with it, my understanding is that puts you at pretty high risk. So I'm glad you got it checked out and that you're doing all right. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So that was the need for the doctor's appointment that I'd been putting off a little bit. So everything in that sphere is good. And I wanted everyone to know that.
Good. Well, I'm glad I didn't offend
and
too
everyone
bad.
to know that I'm not mad at Chris. I'm not mad at you.
Well, I'll also put out there that if we were mid-episode and I was messing around, we probably would have gotten past it and would have gotten to something, and it would have healed itself naturally along the way. Although, yeah, the listeners were not letting me off the hook and saying maybe I had turned you off. So I apologize if I was a little bit of a bully. I was just noticing the consistency of your laugh at points that might have coincided with nervousness, and my bad. I don't always nail it. I do my best. Thanks to everybody who was honest about it.
We're human. We're all just trying to do our best. So, I did have a question for you that I didn't ask last time we talked. And I was thinking about it while I was on my work trip because so one of the dinners that I went to network, I ended up having to take my daughter with me because as I talked about in the last call, that my husband broke his foot, and so that's obviously thrown a wrench in us working on our bus, but it also threw a wrench in him coming with me on my work trip to help take care of the little one. And so I took her to the one dinner that I had that was supposed to be a networking event, and she was not having it. We were on a totally different time zone, and so I don't love to have to do screen time. I don't love the judgment that comes along with it either. But she loves Bluey, and so I put on Bluey for her. And the best conversation that I actually ended up having with someone at this networking event was talking about Bluey. And I remember a call that you had once when you said something about how your son liked watching Bluey, and you guys watched Bluey together, and you would think that the dad is just such a good dad. And I just wanted to say that I agree. I think that Bluey's dad is such a good dad.
Bluey's dad is like the best dad in the history of television. Bluey's dad crushes the dad thing. And he doesn't always make the perfect choice, but he always manages to roll with the punches. Bluey's dad is a role model for us all.
I agree wholeheartedly. I am not mad about the fact that my daughter loves Bluey.
Have you watched the two final episodes, the supposed final episodes?
I have, and I cried at
Same.
So my parents, well, you cried too. Okay.
Of course I cried.
I sobbed. My mom laughs at me because I called the long Bluey episode a feature length film.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really long. 28 minutes is really long.
By Bluey standards,
when the other episodes are
wildly long. Yeah.
That's a movie.
Yeah.
Yes, I watched them and I cried, and yeah, we love Bluey in this house.
Yeah, me too.
Although I'm not in my house right now, so I don't know why I said it in this house.
I understood what you meant.
Thanks.
Yeah, Bluey is aspirational. I pray that I can be as good a dad as the dad from Bluey. Bandit.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show respect.
Me too.
Bandit.
Yeah, Bandit. Bandit's a great dad. I mean, Chili's a great mom too. Don't get me wrong.
All of them are great. And Bluey and Bingo are great sisters. It's a family that I really look up to in a lot of ways. And for anybody who hasn't watched Bluey, you're probably sitting there, you're like, what do you mean you look up to this family? They are cartoon dogs from Australia in episodes that are maybe 11 minutes long. What do you mean you look up to them? Well, you clearly haven't watched the show, because there's a lot of things to look up to with this family. They're lovely, and they're really doing it the right way. And I've got a lot to learn from the family from Bluey. And if anybody wants to judge me for that, you can go ahead and do that. that's on you, not me.
100% with you all the way on that one.
Big time.
We could probably talk about Bluey this whole call.
I would not be opposed to ever talking about Bluey, let alone with someone. Imagine if we just talked about Bluey the whole time when I knew that you do have a plan to move your entire family into a bus, and part of it is the romance of the adventure, and part of it is the tenuous tightrope nature of American housing for middle-class families. But we just talked about Bluey the whole time, even though I knew that.
But we just talked about Bluey, yeah. I think your listeners would love that.
I have absolutely zero problems with that. One of the nights, you become a parent and you enter these situations that you don't expect, right? You can get warned a million ways from Sunday about all the different things that are difficult and all of it. You can have every friend in your life who's already become a parent try to fill you in. Doesn't change the fact you're going to wind up in situations you don't expect. And I will never forget this one night I had where Cal could not sleep and he'd woken us up 3 or 4 times. I finally said, I'm going to bring him into the family room so at least Hallie can get some sleep. Like this is starting to get nuts. And I threw on the TV and I threw on Bluey and he instantly fell asleep. And then I stayed up all night watching Bluey and just crying all night while he slept next to me. And it was like a very remarkable, like there's no one can warn you that this is coming, like no one can tell you. Sometimes you'll be up at 5:15 a.m. watching a cartoon, crying your eyes out while he sleeps next to you. Like no one can really explain how you get to that point. But it was the episode where they don't even speak, the rain episode. And did it get me?
I love that one.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
It really is Bluey and Sesame Street, and then everything else is in, then there's a varying degree, but those are the top in class as far as kids' entertainment go.
Oh, yeah. I agree. Sesame Street's a little old for my daughter. She's just not quite there yet, but I imagine that one will be high on her watch list for our virtual babysitter.
Cal's been very touch and go with Sesame Street.
For saying that.
No, look, if you're going to need a virtual babysitter from time to time, Sesame Street, you could do a lot worse. And I have, just the times where I've put on cartoons and walked away, and then I'm like, oh man, things got away from me. I had so much to do. I knew that the TV was going to be raising him today, but it's been like 2 hours. It happens to the best of us. We don't give Cal much screen time. Yeah. And I come back and finally look at the cartoon that I put on, and it's just like dinosaurs murdering each other or robots setting off bombs in cities. And I'm like, oh, he's been watching this for 2 hours. That's just a thing. That's just a thing that happens sometimes. Every once in a while, you expose your kid to an amount of violence they should not see. It happens.
It happens. I wish everybody would give parents a little bit of grace so you didn't feel so bad when things like that happen. But,
yeah,
it happens.
Every once in a blue moon, it certainly does. What are we going to do? We're going to sit around.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
Sit around apologizing all day? No. Every once in a while, you have a combination of work and family and then chores, and God forbid you need to use the bathroom. So now, kid, you're going to watch a Transformers cartoon that I thought was good for a 4-year-old, but it turns out when I look it up later, it's like 11 and up, and it's not great. But you'll learn about life, and I'll change my strategy next time. These things happen.
It's true. It's true. These things happen.
Yeah. So how's the bus? Has the bus been fixed up at all in the past 2 weeks? Any further conversations about it? Any further movement on getting this bus chopped in half so your tall husband can fit inside? And we're going to go ahead and pause right there, because you got to pause at some point, because there's ads on the show. It's how we keep the lights turned on. So just suck it up, take a deep breath. We'll be right back. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to tell you about Delete Me. Delete Me is such an important service. I really am blown away by the level of thoroughness and quality they provide. And I will tell you, I have sadly had to use services like Delete Me in the past, and I recently switched over to Delete Me, and the difference is remarkable. And all of that's coming straight from me. That's not advertising copy. That's not anything anyone is paying me to say. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. If you don't know this, personal information floats out there all over the internet all the time. Your phone number, your home address, addresses of family members. People are trying to get your social security number out there. And as you can imagine, if this stuff hits the internet, there are people out there who make a lot of money by building sites where they sell this, and it can be bought by identity thieves. It can be bought by people who have bad intentions. A lot of spam phone calls that you get are because of the exact types of sites that I'm mentioning. But guess what? You can now protect your privacy with Delete Me. Okay, your personal information, when it's floating out there unregulated on the internet, that's like giving someone the key to your front door. And Delete Me can help keep that door locked. Keep your information safe. I have sadly been in some situations where these types of things are very necessary for me. I'm not hung up on it. I'm not trying to start any gossip, but I've been in situations where, as someone who has lived publicly and also done a lot of sort of stuff that has a cult following, where there was a stretch where someone on the internet was harassing me. And I started to have the thought of, what can they find out about me? And I was shocked to realize how accessible information was. I personally went and paid a lot of money for services to get my personal information off the internet. I will tell you, when I switched to Delete Me, they found over 23 examples of my personal information floating out there that the other services I used had not managed to find and erase. 23 examples of sites that had never been found, and then 4 or 5 more that had previously been erased, and Delete Me realized that my info had been added back to those sites. You can get this data removed with Delete Me, and I have personally had the experience where I've seen that they do a more thorough job than other services out there. It's just true. As someone who exists publicly, and someone who shares a lot of opinions online, does a lot of work that interacts with people, I'm just hyper aware of it. I've been through it. And it's so easy to find your personal information online. And it's getting easier every day. Delete Me finds and removes personal information you don't want online, and it makes sure it stays off. It's a subscription service. It removes your personal info from the largest people search databases on the web, and in the process helps prevent potential ID theft, doxing, phishing scams. Sign up and provide Delete Me with exactly what information you want deleted. Their experts take it from there. Delete Me sends you regular personalized privacy reports showing what info they found, where they found it, what they removed, and it is not a one-time service. Delete Me is always working for you. They constantly monitor and remove the personal information you don't want on the internet. To put it simply, Delete Me does all the hard work of wiping you and your family's personal info off the web. Data brokers hate Delete Me. Those are the people you want mad, these data brokers. So use Delete Me. Get the data brokers mad. Go ahead, get on it, take control of your data, and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now, at a special discount for our listeners. You get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/beautiful. Use the promo code beautiful at checkout. The only way to get 20% off, you go to joindeleteme.com/beautiful. Enter the code beautiful at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com, joindeleteme.com/beautiful. The code is beautiful, 20% off. Thanks to all our advertisers. Now we're going to return to the phone call. Has the bus been fixed up at all in the past 2 weeks? Any further conversations about it? Any further movement on getting this bus chopped in half so your tall husband can fit inside?
There are no updates on the bus. I mean, since I was gone for a full week, no movement on the bus. And my husband's still hobbling around, so.
And have we discussed or given any more thought to the idea that maybe your husband intentionally hurt his foot so he didn't have to live on the bus, which was a joke I made. And if it was too harsh, I'm sorry.
No, that's not too harsh. I have to say I don't think there was any thought into the breaking of the foot. So no, that is probably not the case. But I have been looking at like alternatives to the bus. Like maybe I get a bus that's already turned into a tiny home.
Really? You're going to walk away from the bus that we're already working from?
I don't know. I don't want to. It's like a unicorn of a bus. Like it has the best diesel the engine transmission combination. And yes, it is a diesel. It's a great bus, and it's already really far along. So I don't know, but it does kind of have like, I didn't talk about this on the last call, but there is a deadline. Like we have to move it from where it lives right now this September.
And we're filming we're recording this rather in mid to late May.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's like kind of a short time frame. And I want the next place that it goes to be its home. I'm not going to say its final resting place because it's mobile, so it's going to move. But I want it to move to where we're going to live. Like I want that. Not that we're moving in September, but I want the bus to be ready to be lived in and like be on the property when it has to move. Because I've already had to move it 3 times, and so I don't want to. I want to be done. I want to be done with this project.
What happens if you hit this deadline and the bus is not good to go? Does the bus get repossessed? Does the bus get kicked out of its area and you have no place to put it, so you gotta? No, it always has a place. It's just that it will end up a few hours away from where we live, which means that working on it will be not as easy. So it's been parked although it has been parked 5 minutes from our house for over a year and nothing's been done to it. So if we park it 3 hours from where we live, maybe we will actually work on it when we're with it. I don't know. It's such a tricky thing, because it's one of these projects that I really want to do, or maybe I would even say wanted to do, but it's becoming less like it would be fun to do, because it almost feels like I have to like encourage my husband to want to do it. I'm like, that's not fun. Like, who wants to do that? So I'm not totally wrong that there's some trepidation here.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
And remind me how tall your husband is?
Oh, like 6'6".
Because that is one of the lasting images from your call that I
Taller.
remember weeks later. You know, all the calls, we've done so many calls, things blend together, but I do remember you telling me that you effectively had to chop the bus in half and make it taller to accommodate your husband's tallness, but that there was a storage area that you could pull the entrance off of so that you might be able to have a stand-up shower, if I remember right, that he could fit in.
Yeah. Because we didn't cut it in half. Because that's maybe out of our budget and out of our skill set. So, yeah, I mean, he seems to think that he'd be okay just like kind of hunched over a little bit.
Yeah, for like,
Which
it's not
I
permanent, but
be
a
okay
year or
with
two.
that.
A year or two that you're gonna live in this thing.
Yeah, I mean, while we're building like our dream house, which I mean could look like anything. I don't know. Have you seen those? I know we talked about storage containers. I don't want to live in a storage container, but they're like aluminum buildings, like aluminum barns, basically. But it's basically just like a big open aluminum building.
Sounds sort of like a storage container, but a slightly different shape.
Kind of a different shape. It has a pointed roof and a big door.
Yeah.
You can put windows on it. You know, that would just be like an easy build. Not necessarily what I'm looking for, but you know, it's a thing. But yeah, living in the bus would be like a temporary thing. But does my husband want to slouch even temporarily? I don't know. That's like not really a life decision that I can make for him, you know? Yeah. If he says, no, I don't care if we raise, that's fine. Let's keep it a slouch. I'm fine with that. Then who might argue? I can stand up straight in it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. I like how these calls broke where you got to do sort of a probably 2/3 of a call now or earlier and now a full call now. Because it's also standing out to me that while, yes, you do own this bus that is in the background of your life as this massive life adjustment that you're hoping will happen but might not happen, you also since then have just like gone on a work trip and probably gotten Starbucks and watched a bunch of stuff on TV. Like it's not, your whole life is not consumed by this bus.
Yeah, no, I mean, as a matter of fact, which I think I was thinking about that too. And it's so funny because like, if that's all people hear, you know, well, which of course all people hear from these calls is like this one little snippet. And it's like, oh, that's their whole life. But no, I mean, the bus is like so far in the background of my life right now. Like it's a dream I have. Yeah. And so of course, like given the opportunity to just like geek out about the layout and talk to someone about it, like, yeah, sure. But yeah, it's definitely not my day to day. I just flew across the country for a work trip. I did not get Starbucks. I try to stick to like the local spots when I'm somewhere different. I went to Cher's favorite bakery.
Cher. Like, do you believe in life after love? Cher.
Yeah.
Cher's favorite bakery.
Yes.
Where's Cher's favorite bakery? Was it good?
I went to, you know, they had an Oreo banana pudding that looks disgusting, but it was delicious.
Sounds great.
And they had a great dirty chai latte, and yeah, it was great. It's in Manhattan, across from Central Park. And yeah, you know, I got to like play. I always love these work trips because I'm from I live in I used to tell people I live in an up and coming metropolitan area, and now it's just kind of like boomed out of it's like bursting at the seams. It's not very enjoyable anymore. But I'm wanting to move my family to a very small town. And so whenever I work part-time in this small town, and whenever I'm here, I always feel like so at home. And then when I get to go on these business trips, it's like so much imposter syndrome. Like, not even kidding. I'm like in a room with multimillionaires that are like presenting and sharing their ideas and stuff. And it's just like, well, me. Like, it's wild. Yeah.
I identify greatly with the feelings of imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome is wild.
I have also left. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking genuinely. I'm not in any way trying to be rude. I mean, you described that you're like, yeah, I go and I help people sort out a lot of strategies, and a lot of it is about helping people to be more effective talking on the phone. And I'm left wondering what the pipeline is where that puts you like elbow to elbow with all these multimillionaires. And I'm not asking to discount that, but because I'm genuinely interested.
Yeah. So I, again, trying to remain anonymous, but like this certification cohort that I'm in only has like 35 members. So, and it's kind of really specific.
Got it. So you are one of you're one of about 3 dozen people that can help corporations and other people be certified in certain skills.
Yeah.
That'll do it. What's the food when you're at a business meeting with a bunch of multimillionaires? What's the food like? Is it sick?
I mean, it's good. You have to like order it ahead of time. And so this trip I went with my mom because I've done these trips solo where she's not a part of it, but with this one it was like a meeting of different business owners that are in the field that she's in. So it was like a marketing meetup for all of these people, and she flies all the time for work, and she does not. She's like, it is worth getting an upgrade to first class, like with how much I fly. And so I've never flown first class before. So like, you get food. I have food all the time given to me. But yes, in these meetings, the food it's good. You have to order it ahead of time, and it's good.
They got like seafood towers and stuff like that. I bet they have
no, but that would
towers.
be really cool.
It's rich people with their seafood towers.
So, I mean, I had a sandwich, so it was good, but like,
Have foie gras on it?
it's not.
Foie gras sandwich? Bunch of rich people eating foie gras.
I actually don't know what that is. Is it duck?
It's like duck or goose liver, I think. No, wait, there's that pate.
Ew.
I don't know what it is. I had it one time in my life. It's not ethical. I'm a vegetarian now. You can't get mad at me. There's people out here eating foie gras next to their seafood towers up in the Manhattan skyscrapers, laughing at all the peons down below. So was that the vibe or no?
No, it's really not. Yes, we're like up in a boardroom, but it's a lot of very like-minded, and I think like attracts like kind of thing.
Yeah, no,
and it's a group of really like-minded individuals. But no, I mean, he just rents the office space in this boardroom. I'm pretty sure the person down the hall, he's probably got a seafood tower in his office.
Yeah, that guy is the real problem.
Yeah.
I also just want to just dispute one thing you said, which is that you said, I don't go to Starbucks. I go to local places. I would argue that when you're in New York City, Starbucks is so ubiquitous, not even necessarily as a coffee shop, but I do want to just give a shout out to Starbucks for being Manhattan's public restroom system. It quietly exists as accessible public restrooms for everyone on the island of Manhattan. It kind of felt like at some point, some city politician was like, we'll let you set up a franchise every block and a half, But in exchange, you have to let everyone use the bathroom all the time. And that was how Starbucks took over Manhattan.
I would agree with you that, I did have to walk by 3 Starbucks to get to Cher's favorite bakery.
Yeah.
So, like they are, and don't get me wrong, like I've been to Manhattan a couple different times for these work trips and I've gone to Starbucks, like I'm not totally against Starbucks. When I'm sick,
Yeah.
I definitely get one of their medicine balls that you're not supposed to call a medicine ball. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you though. I travel a lot, and I try to go local. I try to stick to the local spots. Obviously, I will say the one, and who knows, this might be met with a barrage of comments that maybe this company is disturbing on some level, and I'm not sure of it. The one chain that I've taken to when I'm out on the road, for some reason, you cannot keep me away from Cracker Barrel. If I see a sign for a Cracker Barrel on a highway, Cracker Barrel has a surprising number of vegetarian-friendly options and a great selection of old-timey sodas, let alone the fact that you can distract yourself by looking at the toys and all the sorts of stuff that a Cracker Barrel sells. Now, someone might turn around and go, if Cracker Barrel has funded genocides, don't support them anymore.
Right.
And I'll stop eating there when they do. But for now, I will say, I eat local unless it's Cracker Barrel when I'm on the road. And this is not a paid advertisement in any way. I wish we were getting Cracker Barrel money. I wish Cracker Barrel was out here throwing money at me to shill for them. They're not. I'm just telling you that if you ever need like a gigantic blanket that doubles as a checker set and also like a birdhouse with 6 American flags sticking out of it and a Reese's peanut butter cup that's the size of a large pizza and a reliable lunch option and a rocking chair, Cracker Barrel has it all. Cracker Barrel has it all.
You had me with the Reese's cups. I am a Reese's cup fiend.
You ever seen the size of the Reese's cups they sell at Cracker Barrel? Bigger than a dinner plate.
I haven't seen those ones, but I have never seen a Reese's that big. So I am definitely going to have to go. And I can picture where the Cracker Barrel near my house is. And I think that's where I'm going to go when I get back home, because I'm still like technically traveling for work. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to Cracker Barrel. And I like that you said that they have old-timey sodas, because I'm sober. I don't drink anymore. And but I still like to get a fun beverage when I go places.
You go to Cracker Barrel, you get yourself a bottle of Dr. Enough. You get a double cola.
All right.
They got all kinds of fun stuff there. Nesbitt's Peach. You get a Nesbitt's Peach. Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel it is.
Now, see, it's funny because last time I was apparently aggressive with you to the point where the callers were mad at me for forcing a hang-up, which you later said that while I was being aggressive. Didn't happen. Now I feel like I'm almost being way too casual.
I know. Lay it on me.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I want to play a little bit of a game with you because you pointed out something great, which was like,
let's do it.
Well, you have the bus, and the bus is a very fascinating thing, but that this show does exist as entertainment that boils people down to one sentence. Some of our most beloved episodes. Like, I feel like one of the callers that was very, very beloved was 39-Year-Old Grandma, which was the title of the episode, but also you kind of, we hear, but I've since met that caller so many times, and there's more to this human being than being a 39-year-old grandma. So your log line could be moving my family into a school bus. Like, that's a valid thing to say as far as the title of an episode.
Sure.
What are some other titles of episodes that in one sentence could accurately describe you, but that will show the level of diversity we could have talked about if we hadn't focused so much on the school bus?
Ooh, I mean, we could do that, or we could talk about these things because
absolutely, we're going to talk about at least a couple of them. But I kind of want to hear, if you had to throw out the log lines For the other episode titles that might sum you
Oh,
up,
if I had to,
what would they be?
Oh man.
And let's go ahead and pause, because you have to pause every once in a while, because you have to take a break. And when you take a break, you might as well listen to some kind words from our loving sponsors. We'll be right back.
Ever feel like the news is just arguments or nonstop tragedy? Plus, who has the time to keep up with it all? Well, I have a solution for you.
Welcome to The Newsworthy.
In just 10 minutes a day, The Newsworthy keeps you in the know about everything from politics to tech to entertainment, using its signature fast, fair, fun style. No wonder Harper's Bazaar, Fast Company, People Magazine, and more have called The Newsworthy one of the best podcasts to stay news savvy. Listen now by searching The Newsworthy in your podcast app or go to thenewsworthy.com.
Thanks so much to everybody who advertises on Beautiful Anonymous. And now let's finish off the phone call. If you had to throw out the log lines for the other episode titles that might sum you up,
if I had to,
what would they be?
Oh man. See, Chris, this is kind of hard because in my work, I have a marketing team that I work with, and when I need them to come up with a name for something, I send them what I'm doing and and then they give me like a quippy little English tagline because they're British.
So you have a team of British copywriters that do for you what I'm asking you to do right now? Do you need to go involve them?
I might need to. I need to phone a friend.
You literally might need to just call in creative people from Britain to help you?
No. Let's see. I mean, okay, things that I love Reese's, so you could literally throw a dart at a board of Reese's items and we could talk about any of those. Reese's clusters. Have you had Reese's clusters?
Haven't had the clusters, but
They're
have you had the
amazing.
big cups? And then they started putting out big cup with pretzel, big cup with potato chip, big cup with Reese's
potato
Puffs
chip?
cereal.
Yeah, I haven't had that one. I think the big cup is, honestly, there's a whole discussion that you could have with Reese's, but I think the ratio, chocolate to peanut butter, is just a little off with the big cups. So.
Do you like Reese's Pieces better or peanut butter M&Ms?
Oh, I like the M&Ms that have the peanut butter inside of them. I do. I like those. Is M&M's owned by Hershey's? Do you know? Is this information you have?
I can look this up right now. I believe they're owned by Mars.
Oh, well, I could have done that. I'm sitting in front of my computer, too.
M&M's. I believe it's M&M Mars, but I don't know who owns
Let's see
them
who can find it the fastest.
I don't know. Wait, why are you asking?
Well, because I went to the Hershey's factory when I was in Manhattan for the second time. Not that I was in Manhattan for the second time, but I went to the Hershey's factory while I was there for the second time. Because because I love Reese's. But then I walked out of it, and the M&M's shop is down the block. So are they just like capitalizing on, space? And they were just like, we're just going to set up two locations. Or are Hershey's and M&M's are two different corporations.
I believe they're different. What you witnessed was a pretty cutthroat competition.
Right? I know, but I didn't go to the M&M one. I went to the Hershey's one because Reese's. So
Hershey's does not own Mars. The two
okay.
companies are bitter rivals that control 95% of the candy market in the United States. Mars is a privately held company owned by the Mars family, while Hershey was founded by Milton Hershey in 1894.
Bitter rivals?
Much like the bitter chocolate before it gets sweetened. Much like chocolate before you add sugar. Bitter rivals.
Wow. Okay. That could be the tagline because people thought we were mad at each other.
Now you say Reese's instead of Reese's.
What do you say?
I say Reese's because it rhymes with pieces. Reese's Pieces. My wife also says Reese's.
Reese's Pieces.
I once said to Hallie, she's going to kill me that I'm putting this on the podcast. I once said to her, we had just started dating, and she said Reese's. And I was like, don't you mean Reese's? And she was like, no, Reese's. And I was like, but Reese's Pieces. And she looked at me and was serious and went, no, Reese's Pieces. And I was like, there's no way that it's intended to be.
Yeah, Reese's Pieces.
You and my wife.
That's how you say it.
I'm starting to feel insane. That is not how you say it. That can't be.
Is it the Berenstain Bears or the Berenstein Bears?
Pieces is a word.
Pieces.
Pieces. How do you say that in any other context?
Pieces, unless it's followed by Reese's. Or followed, unless it follows.
Who's
Reese's.
the insane one? Am I the insane one, or are you and my wife Hallie the insane ones? Because that's insane to me to look at that and then go, no, Reese's Pieces. Is there a whole movement of people out here saying Reese's Pieces?
I don't know, but I think we need to find out.
Andrea says Reese's Pieces too. She just told me.
See? Okay. So, I think in this situation, maybe you're the insane one.
Hold on. I cannot believe that I'm Googling the pronunciation of this right now. It's got to be Reese's Pieces.
Google's going to tell. It's Reese's Pieces.
Apparently people in Ohio say Reese's Pieces. What is happening? Are there no standards in this goddamn world anymore? We're going to fall into chaos. The word is so clearly pieces.
The word is pieces, but when you put Reese's in front of it, then it's not like you would say pieces when you're saying pieces, because that sounds like you're saying a dirty word. But if it's Reese's before it, Reese's Pieces.
Apparently, even a Hershey spokesperson has pointed out that Reese's sounds like the possessive form of Reese Witherspoon's first name, Reese's, and it rhymes with pieces. But some buffs pronounce it Reese's. I can't believe that first everybody got mad at me for saying you had a nervous laugh, an impersonating laugh. And I am certain right now there's going to be a whole lot of people who don't care. But the Reese's Pieces people are coming for me based on this. The Pieces people are on their way.
Are.
The Pieces police, not the PC police. Generally, I have not had to worry about them. The PCs police, they're on their way to get me right now. And I know this is happening.
That's awesome. I love that. I'm still trying to think of other taglines, but I learned on my business trip that I just went on that monothematic, single activities or single thought activities are better for productivity. So it's better to, do one thing in your brain and mind at a time than trying to multitask or multi-think.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
So I wasn't thinking of any other ones.
That's fair.
Yeah, I don't know. I also started eating way more Reese's when I stopped drinking. Did you experience something similar? I mean, I know you stopped drinking a very long time ago, but
I'm a sugar fiend.
Did you notice?
Fiend. Yeah.
Were you before too?
to a degree, but now it's bad. And I also impulsively eat sugar in a way that I used to impulsively drink.
Right.
It's not great.
Right.
I also eat sugar in secret, much like I used to drink in secret. Like all the behaviors that made me know I shouldn't be drinking, sugar does. Sugar and food in general. I need to get and it's not about looks, although it would be nice to lose some weight and get back to the weight I was at a few years ago. But my eating habits, I've come to realize lately, mirror an addict's behavior. I eat in secret and hope nobody asks me what I ate that day. I will sneak extra meals after I do shows to reward myself. If I'm feeling bad, I will eat. A lot of concerning behavior around my eating, and I'm trying to get on top of it.
Do you meal plan or like meal prep at the beginning of the week?
No, I wing it every day.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah, me too. I always tell myself I'm going to meal prep.
Yeah. Yeah, life would be better. Life would be better if I could. Not like these rich people with their seafood towers.
I mean, you just get a seafood tower delivered to your house every week. You just eat.
There's people who do.
Room temperature seafood all week.
There's
like
people out there
board.
who their main food group is room temperature seafood. That's the thing they consume more than any other food group. More than carbs, more than dairy, room temperature seafood. That's what these people are out there going for.
Yeah. We call something else that came out of my trip was, like how important it is to train the people that are at the front of the house, like front of house in anything. I mean, in, restaurants too. But specifically in healthcare is what we're talking about. But it's, more than just putting a warm fish in the room. How people say like, oh, it's just a warm body. Put a little more thought and intention into your training and onboarding process.
Explain warm fish.
Like people. Oh. How people say like, oh, they're just a warm body. Like they're not giving anything to the.
Yes.
They're not contributing anything. So somebody had used the term warm fish instead, and that just made me think of it with room temperature seafood. Now I just feel really grossed out.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we've been talking so much about this now that I'm starting to actually consider the gross skivots implications of warm fish. And I think we've taken it farther than we thought. Me
too.
We've only got a few minutes left. Where else do you want to go?
Wow, this flew.
Yeah. Are there any appointments coming up? Any things that you've forgotten? Any things you need to sprint away for?
Anything that I need to step away for? Is that what you said?
Much like the doctor's appointment last time. Are you going to turn around and go, oh, I'm out. Deal with it. You figure out something for the bonus content. I'm out of here.
I felt really bad.
No, it was fine.
I did feel really bad. And I grew up Catholic, so trust me when I say there was some guilt walking away from that one.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it. Everybody's fine. Everybody landed on their feet. We're fine. Everything's okay.
Good. What else do we want to talk about? No. I'm in the hiring process right now for not like my individual business and company that I have going, but the practice that I work for. I just had to open up our posting on Indeed. And Indeed is like the bane of my existence. Sorry, Indeed, if they were ever going to be a sponsor for you.
No, listen, we gave great shout outs to Reese's and Cracker Barrel today. I also like that we've made the bonus content ad free And the first week after that is announced, it's you and I just listing different corporations and websites.
We have name dropped a lot. Huh?
There's some people paying money specifically to get this ad free, and it's me shouting out Cracker Barrel for 20 minutes of the episode.
Cracker Barrel!
I mean, Cracker Barrel's awesome, and their fried pickles are no joke. Hard to resist.
Oh, I love fried pickles.
They give you a good basket.
That might be my favorite fried food.
Cracker Barrel throws down with a good basket of fried pickles.
What do you like to dip your fried pickles in?
You know. It's ranch.
Do you dip them in ranch?
Everybody's out
Okay.
here dipping in ranch. What do you dip them in?
Well, where I'm from, fry sauce is a big thing.
What is fry sauce?
So I would dip mine in fry sauce. Well, it depends on where you're at. What is fry sauce? Like if I'm making fry sauce at home, then it's just ranch and ketchup because that's easy. But
ranch and ketchup.
People get really into fry sauce. Yeah.
It sounds
but you
delicious.
can have like you could do like mayonnaise and ketchup with a little bit of relish and like cracked pepper. It's like really fancy fry sauce. But I mean, like you have to ask for ranch when you go out to eat here. They just give you fry sauce.
There's all sorts of fry sauce recipes out here. Whisk together 1 cup and 2 tablespoons of whisk together mayonnaise, sugar, salt, onion powder, ground mustard, and paprika. Stir in ketchup, vinegar, and Worcestershire sauce until blended. That's an elaborate fry sauce right there.
That's a really intense fry sauce. Like I said, if I make it at home, it's just ranch and ketchup. But, I mean, essentially, it's like a white sauce and then your ketchup. And then, yeah, you could do some seasoning. I like it when they put relish in it because I love pickles. So
finding one site at a most basic level, a fry sauce recipe is just a combination of ketchup and mayonnaise. However, there are several ways to create this iconic dipping sauce. Yeah. The options for what to dip it into are endless. Turns out I do like fry sauce because I do like a mixture of mayonnaise and ketchup. So if that's the basic, turns out I've been a fan for years.
I mean, yeah. You just didn't know it was called fry sauce.
Yeah, I had no idea. No idea.
Now you do. Glad I could teach you something.
You've taught me a lot. You've taught me about bus life. You've taught me about corporate life. You've taught me how to not get a little too sassy with my impersonation of other people's laughs. You've taught me about Cracker Barrel, about Bluey, about fry sauce, about Starbucks, about any number of corporations that have been listed in the course of this call.
I think actually you taught me about Cracker Barrel, but
yeah, that's probably true. I certainly taught you the correct pronunciation of Reese's Pieces, and that I will not apologize for.
Well, because that's not how you say it. It's Reese's, but
even I found the quote from the corporate representative.
Yeah, but what do they know?
There's some
they
people
don't know
in life,
what the consumers know.
There's some people in life who will tell you that, like, maybe it's like QAnon fanatics or Trump voters who are the ones who are least willing to bend on their opinions when faced with facts. I would say that it's the Reese's Pieces people. Those are the ones who are just so steadfast in their strange beliefs, even when confronted with facts.
Whoa.
Did I just get mean again at the end? People are going to go, Gethard, we told you were too mean to this same person 2 weeks ago, and that was over the line. You compared her to a QAnon conspiracy theorist because she says Reese's instead of Reese's. Maybe slow your roll on that one, dude. Which would be a fair and valid criticism, actually.
Jeez. I might stop listening.
Really? Oh, no, my bad. You could tell I was kidding.
No.
Right?
I'm kidding. Of course I could tell you were kidding. No, I'm kidding too. I love your show. I think you're great, and I think what you're doing is great. And yeah, there's been so many times over the years listening to your calls that, I've heard things from people that I'm like, oh my gosh, that resonates so much. Or like maybe times when I tried to call when things, that like something crazy just happened. I was like, whoa, this would make such a good conversation. And then I'll hear a call that's like kind of similar. I'm like, oh, nice. Well, I just feel seen and heard and validated. It's a great show, Chris. You're doing good.
I'm very lucky to do it. Thank you for being such a big part of it. I mean, now two episodes of the whole thing revolve around you. And thanks for calling back and getting the do-over in, and weirdly now having, if you consider them part 1 and 2, you now have strangely the longest call in a long time. Thank you so much. Thanks to everybody who's been listening on the free feed. And if you want to sign up for more, everybody, we have about 20 more minutes on every single episode. You sign up at beautifulanonymous.com. You also get it without ads. Now, that is not to say that we're going to cut out all the plugs for Cracker Barrel and Reese's. Those were part of the episode. But the ads go if you do sign up. So beautifulanonymous.com. Caller, are you down to stick around for 5 more random questions?
Yeah, I'm down. I just got a text from my nanny that she was going to bring lunch by and my daughter. So nice. I have like 20 minutes. So perfect.
Caller, thank you so much for calling back. Thank you for both giving me the business on the parts where maybe I was a little dickish and also letting me know that it wasn't that bad. And also for this follow-up call, which was really lovely in its own right and so different from the first one and very eye-opening in that way. Thank you for all of this. Thank you to our producer, Andrea Quinn. Thank you to Shell Shag for our theme music. If you want to know more about me, including my road dates, I got a lot of them right now. You can go to chrisgeth.com. That should, you know what? Go to punchup.live/Chris Gethard. That's where it leads you to anyway. punchup.live/Chris Gethard. You can find all the tour dates. And yeah, thank you, everybody. Thanks so much. It's great to talk to you. This week on Beautiful Anonymous Plus, here's some of what you'll get from the 5 questions.
I flew into Newark on my last trip and drove from Newark to Manhattan.
Not a great drive.
New Jersey's not a great drive, but the Newark airport is really pretty, and the baggage claim area is like very seamless, and I felt zero stress.
You must have flown into Terminal A. You must have flown into the new terminal, Terminal A. Because no one's saying
are they not all like this?
No one's saying that about Terminal C, and no one's ever set foot in Terminal B. I've never met an actual person who has flown in or out of Terminal B. Terminal A is new, and it's great, and I'm glad to hear it's impressing outsiders. Terminal C, nobody's ever been like, what a lovely, well-run place. So you must have gone to Terminal A. So I'm glad to hear that. And Terminal B just remains an actual mystery. I challenge anyone here to tell me they've actually set foot in Newark Airport Terminal B. Don't forget to sign up for Beautiful Anonymous Plus at beautifulanonymous.com.
O'Reilly.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE-certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.